Good evening. You are watching News Mongolia on MNB World. I'm your host, Ulaanbaatar. And from our top stories. Some members of parliament say budget reforms are needed. The Ulaanbaatar Railway Trade Union issued a statement. 2,772 applications received for public service vacancies. For the news, stay tuned. Members of Parliament held a press conference demanding budget reform. They proposed the four main areas of reform, including budget stability, planning, control and accountability, and foreign debt and aid policies.
The bill on budget reform states that the budget should be amended to factor in deficit and debt. Amendments should be made with the participation of all members of parliament, and the amended budget should be submitted by September 1st. The proposed reforms also include accountability for mismanagement and inappropriate expenditures, with the dismissal of officials responsible. The reforms state that programs and projects not included in the budget should not be state-funded.
To maintain budget transparency and stability, to contribute to the Future Heritage Fund, to become debt and deficit-free, we should put an end to a wasteful expenditure.
Even though we have increased the state budget each year, we should remember that our economic capacity has stayed the same at around $10 billion. We should improve accountability and strengthen controls for expenditures.
If we adopt a deficit-free budget, we will not have to take out loans and go into debt. The country's credit rating will improve. Consequently, it will be easy to acquire investment from foreign markets. We will transition to the international practice of funds being raised from the private sector rather than the state budget.
The initiators of the proposed budget reform say that Future Heritage Fund contributions would come from the state budget and frequent budget amendments would be avoided.
The Union of Railway Workers of Mongolia submitted a demand to the Ministry of Road and Transport Development of Mongolia, BMTOCT, regarding issues such as corruption in the Ulaanbaatar Railway, official crimes, harassment and violence in the workplace, and wages of railway workers.
The Ulaanbaatar Railway Workers Union of Mongolia informed about the current issues of corruption, official crime, workplace harassment and other issues. Bayra, head of the Ulaanbaatar Railway Trade Union, made the following statement. In 2017, we sent an official letter to the government. However, it has been 6 years since 2017 and nothing has changed during this period. Due to involvement of the government, political influence has been exerted on state-owned companies. The development of corporate governance is being blocked. Also, 3 years ago, I was informed about the sale of wagons by the railway, and the names of the people were given to the independent authority against corruption and checked. Judging by yesterday's court proceedings, this is a tax evasion trial, not a corruption case. So let me tell you why this is actually a corruption problem. There is a woman named Amar who is the biggest authority at our railway company, deputy head of the road in charge of cargo transportation. Also, there is another person named Tokt, who is subordinate of this person, or a higher official of Battul, who is raising the issue. Bosses know about the problems of selling wagons. The fact that the employee involved in this or the deputy head of the Transport Regulatory Office is going to turn out to be a tax evader when he is investigated regarding this matter proves that the courts and supervisory bodies are also involved in this matter. That is why it's necessary to investigate the top managerial people of the railways. Also, 96.1 billion MNT deposited in the Chinggis Khan Bank has disappeared. At the time, Minister Chindaruk secured the right to manage those funds. Also, there is a lot of job and positional pressure. Recently, more than 20 people have been appointed as heads. However, if you want to increase the number of regular employees, it is said that there are open positions and it is impossible. There are even people who have been sexually harassed and no action is taken against these people. We are working together.
The Public Service Council of Mongolia reports that 2,772 people have submitted applications for public service vacancies.
We have received applications from 81 applicants from doctoral degrees, 1,616 applicants with a master's degree, and 1,603 applicants with bachelor's degrees. Anyone who would like to apply for an open position can submit their application through an online system within 3 to 5 minutes. Exam dates and grades, everything will be uploaded to the online system, and vacancies are open to anyone interested.
Now take a look at the current affairs of Mongolia.
In relation to the rules on open trading of coal to be exported adopted by the resolution number 466 of the government of Mongolia on December 14th of 2022, Mongolian Stock Exchange has been working to create necessary frameworks for the implementation of the rules. Within the framework of preparation, the registration for the trading system has begun for parties interested in buying coal through an e-auction. Under the rules on open trading of coal to be exported, the applicants for bidders should submit the following documents to register in the comex.msc.mn trading system. The following documents include a copy of the state registration certificate of the legal entity, taxpayer's certificate of the country of residence and taxpayer number, a bank reference letter, and an official English translation of documents in foreign language. Mongolian Stock Exchange shall review the submitted documents of the bidders registered in the system, contact them for clarification if necessary, and grant the right to participate in the e-auction based on the complete submission of materials to the trading system.
Let's look at the currency exchange rates provided by the Central Bank of Mongolia. Now here comes foreign news partnered with international news agencies. Some 100 Ukrainian troops have arrived at Oklahoma's fort, still to begin training on their Patriot missile defense system, getting keep closer to obtaining the long-sought protection against Russia's missile attacks.
Ukraine for months requested that the US provide the Patriot surface-to-air guided missile defense system because it can target aircraft, cruise missiles, and shorter-range ballistic missiles. During his late December visit to the US, Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky said the battery would make a significant difference in bolstering Kyiv's defenses against Russia's invasion. The number of Ukrainians coming to Fort Sill is approximately the number it takes to operate one battery, and they will focus on learning to operate and also maintain the Patriot, Pentagon spokesman Air Force General Pat Ryder said Tuesday.
Soldiers from the Ukrainian Armed Forces have arrived here at the Fire Center of Excellence at Fort Sill, Oklahoma to begin air defense training. This training will consist of operator and maintainer tasks for the Patriot air defense system.
Kyiv's decision to take troops off the battlefield to train across the Atlantic in the US is unusual, although Ukraine has sent forces for short-term training at European bases for other complex systems it has received, such as on the longer-range high-mobility artillery rocket system. Patriot training normally can take several months, but the longer those troops are off the line, they are not actually engaged in combat, so the training will be shortened, said Ryder. Fort Sill was selected because it already runs Patriot training schools, Ryder said. The US pledged one Patriot battery in December as part of one of several large military assistance packages it has provided Ukraine in recent weeks. Last week, Germany pledged an additional Patriot battery. Each Patriot battery consists of a truck-mounted launching system with 8 launchers that can hold up to 4 missile interceptors each, a ground radar, a control station, and generator. The Army said it currently has 16 Patriot battalions. The Patriot batteries will complement a variety of air defense systems that both the US and NATO partners have pledged to Ukraine. as it faces an evolving barrage of missiles and drones against its civilian population and infrastructure from Russia in the nearly 11-month-old conflict. In the last few months, Germany has pledged 4 Iris-T air defense systems. The US has also pledged 8 mid-range National Advanced Surface-to-Air Missile Systems, or NASAMS, and Avenger air defense systems. The training at Fort Sill was first reported by CNN.
Senior U.S. envoy Brett McGurk met with Iraqi Prime Minister Mohammed Shah al-Sudani in Baghdad for talks on Monday. The pair discussed the bilateral relations and the need to continue to combat terrorism, while also discussing ways to strengthen the overall relations between the two countries.
McGurk, the White House coordinator for the Middle East and North Africa, affirmed U.S. support towards Iraqi forces in their fight against ISIS, including their commitment to government reforms in the energy sector, infrastructure development, and combating climate change. The U.S. envoy also welcomed the upcoming visit of Iraqi Foreign Minister Fuad Hussein to Washington, D.C. in the holding of meetings on the bilateral strategic framework agreement. The meeting was also attended by the U.S. Special Presidential Coordinator for Global Infrastructure and Energy Security Amos Hochstein and the U.S. Ambassador to Baghdad Alina Romanovsky.
South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol visited the Baraki nuclear plant on Monday as part of a state visit to the United Arab Emirates. Yoon was received by the United Arab Emirates President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan at the site in Al Dhafra.
Seoul's first attempt to build atomic reactors abroad also brings hopes of lucrative maintenance contracts and future projects in the Emirates. The $20 billion Baraka nuclear power plant, the first on the Arab Peninsula, will one day account for nearly a quarter of all of the Emirates' power needs. Already, Yoon's 4-day trip to the United Arab Emirates has seen a promise from Sheikh Mohammed to invest some $30 billion in the country. Heavyweight business leaders from Hyundai, Samsung, and other companies also are taking part in the state visit. Early in the day at the Sustainable Week Summit in Abu Dhabi, Yoon said that his nation's efforts to be carbon neutral by 2050 would rely in part on returning to nuclear power despite his predecessor having tried to move away from atomic power.
Now here comes a regular feature on sports. The veteran Uruguayan striker Luis Suarez scored 3 goals in the first half and helped Gremio to beat Sao Luis 4-1 and clinch the Recopa Gaucha at Super Cup tournament.
Luis Suarez started his career at Gremio in the best possible way. The former Barcelona and Liverpool striker scored a hat-trick within 38 minutes on Tuesday to lead his new team to a 4-1 victory over São Luís and the Recopa Gaucha title. Suarez, 35, joined the Brazilian club this month after leaving his boyhood club Nacional when his contract expired in December. He signed a 2-year contract as a free agent after the World Cup. Suarez left the game in the 14th minute of the second half to the delight of the fans at the Arena Gremio. It was the first time Suarez had scored a first-half hat-trick since 2013 when he did it with Liverpool against Norwich City and his most goals on a debut. He scored 2 goals in his first match with Atleti in 2020 after joining them from Barcelona. The Recopa Gaucha is a Super Cup tournament between the winner of Rio Grande do Sul State Championship and the State Cup champion. The game was decided in the first half. Suarez, or El Pistolero as he is known, scored the first, third and fourth goals from Gremio, while Bitola scored his second. Paulinho Santos netted Sao Luís' goal.
British billionaire Sir Jim Ratcliffe's firm Ineos has officially entered the race to buy Manchester United. United's owners, the Glazer family, said in November that they were considering selling the club as they explore strategic alternatives.
Ratcliffe, one of the UK's richest men and boyhood fan of United, has been linked with a takeover of the English Premier League giants after the Glazer family, the current owners, announced last year they were willing to listen to offers. Ineos said the company had formally put themselves into the process. Ratcliffe made an unsuccessful late £4.25 billion British pounds offer to buy Chelsea last year after owner Robin Abramovich put the London club up for sale. Born the son of a joiner in Fellsworth in Greater Manchester, Ratcliffe is a boyhood fan of United and one of the UK's richest men. He said he would have tried to buy the Old Trafford site following the failure to acquire Chelsea, but after meeting with brothers Joel and Avram Glazer, stated that they did not want to sell. However, since then the Glazers have changed their position and he has now joined the bidding process. Ineos Group owns OGC Nice in France and Swiss club Lucerne. United has been owned by the Glazer family since 2005. They are fourth in the Premier League after an improvement in form under new manager Erik ten Hag, who took over in the summer. There have been multiple protests against the Glazers' ownership in recent years, including one in May 2021 that caused United's home league match against Liverpool to be postponed. Thousands of supporters marched to Old Trafford in protest before the same fixture this season in August. United were part of the failed European Super League project that rapidly collapsed in April 2021. Manchester United co-chairman Joel Glazer later apologized for the unrest it caused. He attended fans' forums in the wake of supporter unrest and pledged to make shares available to the club's followers. Since then, a statement from United in November said the board will consider all strategic alternatives, including new investment into the club, a sale or other transactions involving the company.
Now let's look at the weather forecast for the world's major cities. Well, that's all for today. Thank you for staying tuned. We'll see you next time with more news and updates. Have a good day.